Afternoon, everyone. Today's the 5th of February. This is Brad Matheny again. Just wanted to come with you with a brief little update. So here we are at the end of the day. Markets really kind of rallied all the way up. Let me move this. And never really rolled over today, which is fine. I mean, what can I say? Markets are in a kind of a rally mode. That's what I called for today, a rally. I did expect it to roll over. I have to admit, I did expect it to roll downward and not quite get up to this 604 level. We could potentially see it try to rally tomorrow a little bit, but we're in a counter trend rally. So you see right here how we move into this counter trend rally and then a carryover. We're still in warning. We're still in a daily bullish bias. I'm looking at this counter trend to be a reversion. I'm thinking that we're looking at this move as kind of another breakdown back down into this area here. And really do believe that we're going to see down into the 595 level, maybe a bit further, maybe down here into the 593 area. But what was interesting as I'm looking at the chart is, again, you can see that we've kind of moved down into this. In fact, I'll get rid of some of these lines so you can see it. We've moved back down into this consolidation phase again. So here we are. Nope, go rid of that. We've rallied up. We've come back down. And we've flagged again. Another excess phase peak pattern. So here we are, rallying up, coming back down, moving into another excess phase peak pattern right across here. And it's starting to show, failure. We had a breakdown level here, which indicates failure. Remember, right here, let me spread this out. So this move here, this breakdown on Monday, same thing like this, broke into a trend and indicated failure. Actually kind of created this zone here. Broke down here, indicated failure of the breakaway. Otherwise, we would have invalidated up to the upside. And so now we've got this breakdown here, moving into another mode, which again puts us with a low down here at this level. We're trying very hard here to, kind of hold at this 591, roughly 590, 591 level. And, I'm looking at this thinking to myself that, now would be a perfect time because where we have this apexing here means that we have some kind of a resistance level right up in this area. And, it just makes sense that we would have a perfect time here to roll over and revert back down here to the middle of this channel. So here's the channel again, we can kind of just go off of this. Well, let's go off of this channel and come back up here, come across here, depending on where we get the highs. Come down here, depending on where we get the lows. That's pretty well perfect. And then we'll put one right in the middle, which will be right up in here. And there we are. That puts us right down to the 597 area. Okay. So, where we're at with this move is, I believe we're in a breakdown channel. And I think this is going to just, sidestep almost like, exit stage left, right out the door. And I think when this breakdown does happen, if it happens, I mean, it's still pending with my deep V low setting up only really 3-4 days away. I think it's going to happen more so Monday, Tuesday instead of Friday. I think we're going to melt down. But, if this does do what I expect, I'm expecting this 585, 584 area to become immediate support, maybe a bit lower next week, early next week. We could be in the 570s. But again, this just looks to me like it's a beautiful little breakdown. peaking. Look at this. Look at how this set up. This is almost incredible. Rally up through the inauguration, peaking at about 610. Okay, perfect. Come back down right after the inauguration. We're at 595. Okay, no problem. Rally back up. We come up and we just barely get below these new highs. This was, again, new all-time highs and rejection. Failed again back over here, rejected. Coming back down. Are we going to make it up to new all-time highs? I don't think so. I think at this point we're rolling, especially so closely into the deep V pattern. So again, I'm looking at this with rally, failure, rally, pullback, rally, failure, pullback, rally, failure. At this point, I'm looking for kind of a, a fairly aggressive rollover down into this area and then maybe into a deep low. And I think it could be coming from news. I think that this weekend, I sit here and while I'm working, I read the news and it's just amazing what is going on in Washington, D.C. Personally, I'm kind of happy that we're having some sort of a full government audit. It's about effing time, in my opinion. But at the same point in time, it's going to disrupt a lot of things. So, again, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, in fact, I took a couple of shorts. Let me come over here and do this. And just because I think we're going to get into a kind of a panic mode, depending on what happens and what's announced, I actually decided I was going to hedge against a breakdown over here in silver. And so you can see where we're at. We've had a nice little rally. We get a little pullback. I could have gotten into gold, but I chose silver because the options were very cheap at the time. And really, I'm just kind of looking at some kind of a breakdown, just to some sort of a little panic mode in silver off of news over the next couple of days. My options expire on Friday. But again, I just think that, the way this is setting up, the way that we keep running right across this, kind of, rejection high, rejection high. Now we're back up into this rejection high. I think that we're looking at a breakdown. I really do believe that we're looking at a breakdown in the market. I don't see anything that's going to really drive the market substantially higher, especially going into the weekend, going into the news. I just read they're trying to impeach Trump again. I mean, it's just chaos. And I think that's going to drive this sideways trend. And as I keep mentioning to you, I'm very cautious of a move back down into this 575 area. I think really this 575 to 585 area is really long-term support. Remember, we were just there literally a month ago down in this area before we moved into the inauguration. So I think that we could easily move back down into this 580, 584 area before we try to find support. So be aware. So now let's take a look here at the QQQ. And we've got the same setup. We've got another excess phase peak here. I drew it already. We've got the same channeling levels coming through here. I can highlight this, paste it down here, try to get we don't quite have the same ranging. I mean, in theory, we can come down to here off of that low. We have this mode that I drew the other day. But again, we keep getting that same failure. And I think we're going to run into failure right over here and roll downward into this area and then eventually lower. So heads up. Like I said, this is going to be very interesting the next 4 or 5 days. We'll call it next 2 weeks because, I've been telling you that this low, this cycle low, this deep V low, and this secondary low on the 21st are coming for more than a month. So at this point, I kind of stuck my neck out, and one way or the other, we're going to find out whether I'm right or wrong. It's going to come. It's going to show up. Either I'm going to be right, we're going to get a breakdown, which I highly believe is likely, or we're going to see moderate nothing. as far as a breakdown. Given what's going on in the world, I think the breakdown seems pretty obvious. So, okay, guys, that's it. Let's just see what happens. And remember, stay agile. Don't get married to a big position one way or the other. Diversify. I'm only trading about 1/4 of my account right now. So, give you an example, I've still been able to do very well trading 1/4 of my account. That means that I, literally have 3/4 in cash at all times. Now, why do I do that? Is because I get messages from people that say, "Oh, I went all in on," someone wrote me yesterday, they went all in on a Google earnings. It didn't work out, and she took her lumps. I try not to do that. If something doesn't work out, and I've got 6 positions with 1/4 of my capital, I lose on 2 of them. Okay, I lost 6% maybe of my total capital. I can handle that and keep coming back for more. Just don't want to see it happen all the time. So again, pay attention, scale down what you're doing, follow with what I'm doing, and let's see how this breaks out. It's going to either, in the next 3 days, you're either going to hear me gloat a little bit, just like I predicted, which I've done before, or I'm going to be, well, it didn't work out, and that's the way it is. As again, that's the way it is. Either I'm going to be right or I'm going to be wrong, and we'll see how it works out. All right, guys, thanks to all of you for following and listening, and let's just see how it goes.